something that we didn't see the last time. And I want you to go with me to the book of the prophet Isaiah. And we're going to go to chapter 37. Now, the fact that I said, sitting down, that doesn't mean that I'm going to try to hold you long. Normally, on a normal Sunday, we would have only been starting church 6 minutes ago, and we wouldn't be dismissing until about 1:30. 1:45. So I promise to not hold you past 2 o'clock today. Isaiah chapter 37. Do you have it? Look with me to verse 14. Now, I'm going to deal with quite a bit right in here, but to give us the foundation for our message, Isaiah 37 verses 14 and 15 reads thusly. And Hezekiah received the letter from the hand of the messengers and read it. And Hezekiah went up unto the house of the Lord and spread it before the Lord. And Hezekiah prayed unto the Lord, saying, I'm going to stop right here. Hezekiah prayed unto the Lord. I'm not going to really deal with Hezekiah's prayer and the words, the involvement of his prayer, the things that he said. But I am more concerned with the reaction of Hezekiah to a threatening letter that came to him from the king of Assyria. And again, it seems as though the story never ceases, it never runs out, that the people of God, and I'm not going to go all through this, but as you know, and as I've tried to explain time after time, that whenever Israel is under attack from its neighbors, its Arab neighbors around them, this has to do with a physical platform that is used to show us a spiritual picture. Israel in that day was considered to be, in fact, God repeatedly says, if this Bible is right, and I do believe that it is, God consistently referred to them as his people. And he constantly promised to shield and protect his people. And just as he promised to shield and protect them, and did do so in the realm of the physical in that day, we who are the blood-washed saints of God have the promise that he will shield and protect us in whatever way needed, whether it be physical or whether it be spiritual, because most of our warfare is spiritual. Hello, somebody. Most of our warfare is spiritual. The enemy comes in so many different ways, and that's why we have the passage in the Bible that says, when the enemy comes in like a flood, the Spirit of the Lord will lift up or will raise up a standard against him. And sometimes that's the way it is. The old folk weren't too far off when they said, when it rains, it pours. You having one problem, and you figure that as soon as that one problem is over, that everything is going to be all right. But instead of everything being all right, before that problem ends, there are 3 or 4 more coming at you at the same time. And the enemy, Satan, comes at us just like a flood. But the Lord has given us his promise. Oh, you don't hear me today. He's given us his promise. Let the enemy come. But the Spirit of the Lord will raise up a standard against him. Now, here is one of those situations where the Assyrians seemingly were in charge. They were the most powerful nation. And I'm not going to go too far on this because I don't want to get off in politics. But our nation had the greatest opportunity of any nation in history to set a godly example for the nations of the world. But instead of that, we ended up, and it's not over yet. We still got another couple of years. We ended up with the most divisive administration that I have seen during my lifetime. And I do want you to know that I was here before Franklin Delano Roosevelt died. So every I know you laughing, Booker T. Cole, you and you count every president, but you have not had one whose rhetoric was always divisive, always divisive. It's like if you were not a Republican, you were not an American. Divided his own country, and then in the process of dividing his own country, turned most of the nations of the world against us. And like I said, I don't want to get too far off on that because it kind of, it doesn't make my blood boil, it just makes it a little warm. But at that time, it was Assyria. And they were the most powerful nation at this time, the most powerful kingdom that there was. Israel had come through. In fact, it had been born at the time of Egypt being the strong and sovereign kingdom. And then one after another. Now you've got, not too far apart, Assyria and Babylon. But now, while these two nations were the ones that seemingly were the strongest that were on the face of the earth and boasted about their strength and who they were, and finally one day Sennacherib decided, well, let me